Hey everybody, welcome back. So in this lesson, I want to create dust whenever our player is running or hitting the ground. Also, we don't actually have collisions with these. So let me move this one up. I'll just show you really quick. So if we collide into them, nothing happens, right? So we just got to fix that really quick. Um, so let me just move these back. There we go. And what we can do is just under our um, object here, we're just gonna basically duplicate this. So we're gonna say new condition when our mask is overlapping with this one. Or you know what we can do actually? Let's not do that. What we can do is first we'll come into this one, we'll just select it. And let's go ahead and go over to, what is it? Okay. So click on the Events tab, and where it says Qualifiers, let's edit. And we're going to add a qualifier. And let's choose Bad. All right. And okay. Now let's come into this one, and we'll add Bad to it as well. Okay. And that should automatically get this one bad. And then what we can also do is select this one, and we'll make this one a bad. Okay. And now we can come into our event here, and what we can do is say, instead of is our object overlapping with death, we'll change it to bad, that qualifier that we created. And now every time we hit one of those, it will automatically do what we did before. So instead of having this one here, we can simply delete it. And okay, now let's try it out and make sure that still works. Yeah, so we collided with the bad, and that deleted one of our lives. And now if we hit any of them, it's gonna work it out. So now whenever we touch with one of those events or one of those objects in that group, then it's going to run the code like we did previously. Okay, so now let's move on to creating the dust. So let's create a new active. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this all. And I'm going to paint it a white color. Let's make it centered. Hit OK. And there's a few things we want to do. So let's come over here to the size and position tab. And let's set to, let me see here. Yeah, 5 by 5. And then also come over here to the runtime options. Let's uncheck create at start. And I'm going to move this outside of the screen here. And I'm going to rename it to obj dust. Okay. And also what we can do is come here to our values, and what we're going to do is add a few different variables here. So we'll do 4 variables. So we're going to create one for trans because we're going to make it transparent. And then we'll also do the X speed, the Y speed, and the, let's see. You know what? We actually need to add one more. Let's also do the X position and the Y position. All right, let's go ahead and come over to our object mask here, and let's add a new variable to him, and we'll call this one, let's see, Y speed, because we want to create dust whenever he lands on the floor, but only if he's going his maximum speed. Next, let's go ahead and also create a flag, and let's call this one on ground because we want to check whenever our player is on the ground or not. Alright, so now what we want to do, let's go to our event editor here. I'm going to close some of these. Let's create a new group, and we'll call this one dust. And what we can say is basically we need to check to see if our platform movement object is standing on the ground. So how we do that is we do new condition. We come under our platform movement object, and then we want to say object stakes, and object is standing on the ground. And when we press, when we press our jump key, then we want to generate some dust. So for me, the jump key was Z, so that's going to be my jump key. But you guys change it to whatever your jump key is. So I'm going to say insert and keyboard upon pressing key Z. And I'm going to say, actually, I'm going to flip these. So when we press Z, if our object is standing on the ground, then what we want to do is a new action. We're going to be starting a loop. So underneath our little special event or special conditions here, let's do fast loops start loop. And we'll call this one gen dust, and we'll call it middle, because we're going to be creating dust when we're going to the left, to the right, and from the center. So we'll do gen dust middle first. The expression, we wanted to do it like random 5, and then we'll say plus 2. All right, so what this is saying basically is we're going to be creating a random value between 0 and 5, right? So we don't want it to be 0. We always want to have a minimum value. So the minimum value is going to be 2. And then the maximum would be 7. So if we got 5 plus 2, 3 plus 2, 0 plus 2. So we're always going to at least have some dust when we jump, right? All right, so that's activating our loop. Now we want to do something when our loop happens. So what we do is come under here, and then we go to on loop, and we call this one gen dust middle. And then we just want to add the code. So first we want to create an object, and we're going to create our dust. It doesn't matter where, because we're going to be updating it through code. Where we want to create it is we'll do, let's see here. So for our dust, we want to come underneath our dust, and we're going to say position. Let me fix the code here so you can actually see. Let me just make this full screen. There we go. And so what we're going to do is underneath our dust object, we're going to say position. We'll do set our x coordinate, and what we're going to do is set it to the x coordinate of our mask, right? And then we also want to do our y coordinate, but this time for our position, what we're going to do is set it to the bottom, because when we jump, that's where we want to create the dust, but we want it to be at his feet. So let's go ahead and do y coordinate bottom edge. And okay. And then we want the dust to kind of move a little bit. We don't always want it to be at the same position. So how we can do that is first we'll set our alterable value of X position, and we're going to set that to our current X position for dust. And then we'll do the same thing for our Y. So we'll do alterable values, set Y pos to our current Y position. All right. And then from there, we can now edit where it moves. So let's go ahead and do alterable value. We're going to set our X speed. And what we can do is random range. So you can either click here or you can just type R random and say where you want to go. We want it to be a pretty varied number here. So I'm just going to do -30 and 30. But we also want to times that by, so add a multiplication, and we'll do 0.01. So what this does, let me pull up a calculator actually, and I'll show you. So if we were to do -30, it seems like this is going to be a pretty big number. But if we were to do 30 and then times 0.01, then we get a 0.3 value. So it's not going to be a giant number. So it seems like it would be because of the -30, but that would be insane. That would be way too big. Because we're adding this 0.1 digit there, it's going to always be a small variant. All right, so let's close that and we'll hit OK. And we want to do the same thing for our Y speed. So we'll do alterable values, set Y speed. And we're going to do our random, and we'll do -30, and we want it to be always going up. So instead of doing +30, we're just going to do -1, and then we will times that by 0.01. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that out really quick. So if we press the jump, it's always creating it at this one spot, right? So we need to add some more code here. So let's figure out what we got to add. Basically, what we want to do is first let's set up the transparency of our dust, and then we'll set up the movement. So what we do is say always, and under our dust, we're going to come under our alterable values. We're going to add to trans by 1. And then what we can do is say effect, compatibility, set semi-transparency. And we're going to always set it to our alterable value of trans for dust. And there it is. Values, alterable values, and retrieve trans. And okay. Then what we want to do is when it's fully transparent is delete it. So let's go ahead and take care of the destruction. We'll do if our alterable value of trans, and we'll say is greater than, I don't know, we'll do 150, then we can simply destroy it. All right, so let's go ahead and test that really quick. So we didn't add movement to it yet, but it should. Yeah, there we go. That's happening a little slow, so we may change that. But real quick, let's add some movement. So again, underneath our always, what we can do is we'll come underneath our alterable values and we'll add to the, let's see, the Y speed. Oh no, let's do X speed first. We'll do X speed, and we will add our Y position to it. So under dust, we go values, alterable values, and we'll do x speed. Okay. No, actually, I'm so sorry. We're going to do, um, let's see, values, alterable values. We're going to retrieve our x position. So we're adding our x position to our x speed. And then we're going to do the same thing for the y. So let's do alterable values, add to y speed. And we're going to add to it our y position. Okay, so now if we hit play and we jump, it's still not moving. Let me see here. What did I do wrong? You know what? I think I did these backwards. Let's edit this one. We're going to set it to xpos, and we're going to add our x speed to it. Yeah, I think that's what the problem was. So we're going to do ypos, and we're going to add our y speed to it. Yeah, that would be it. That would fix it. Alterable values and y speed. Okay. Now if we do it, we're still not moving here. Let me figure this out really quick. Give me 1 second, everybody. Okay, so I found out what I did wrong here. It's because I never set the x and y coordinates to equal xpos and ypos. So we can just do that under our always. What we'll do is we'll do position, set x coordinate to, where is our dust here? If I can get that off, stop it. Ugh, stop it. There we go. We'll go values, and we'll do xpos, and then for our position y coordinate, we need to set that to our position of values ypos. Okay, now it should work. Let's try it out now. There we go. Yeah, that looks good. So that's what it'll look like whenever we jump off of the ground. Okay, so now let's continue on here. And really quick before we continue on here, I didn't like how whenever we were running the game here, the dust was always created in the simple or the same X position. So let's just change that a little bit. Let's come over here to where we're creating it at the X coordinate. So set the X position. Let's add a random range. So we'll just do plus, and we'll set it to maybe, let's see, we'll do a random range. So our random, and we'll say maybe -15 and 15. All right, so let's go ahead and try that. Let's see if that looks a little bit better. Yeah, now they're not always created at the same spot. Okay, I like that. All right, now let's go ahead and add some more. Okay, so really quick, let's edit some of these values because I didn't like how long it stayed there. So what we can do is just increase the transparency that we're adding. So we'll add 1 to trans, and we'll set that to maybe add 2, so that should go much faster. And yeah, that looks a lot better. Also, I want to make it to where when we first jump, they go a little bit faster, and then are kind of, they slow down just once they reach like their maximum point, just like real dust does. So let's first edit the X speed and Y speed here. So we'll edit these. I want to do it a little bit faster. So let's add some more velocity. We'll do 50 and 50 for the X, And then, well, for the Y, let's edit the Y position. No, not the Y position. There we go. The Y speed, we'll change that to 50. Okay, so let me see this part here. Let me jump. Yeah, so that goes a little bit faster. But now let's make it to where we have it kind of weighted so it goes faster at first and then it slows down. Okay, so to do that, what we can do is under our always event, we will add two new conditions here, or actions, I'm sorry. And what we'll do is we'll go to alterable values, we'll set our x speed to our current x speed. So where's the dust? There we go. Values x speed. And then what we can do from there is times that by, I don't know, we'll do 0.985. All right, and then, yeah, we'll try that with the y as well. So we'll do alterable values, set y speed, cancel. What did I do there? Alterable values, and we'll set our y speed. There we go. To our current y speed. And we'll do the same thing, times 0.985. All right, now let's try that. So it should go faster at first, and then once it reaches its maximum velocity, it should slow down. Yeah. Okay, I'm liking that. Okay, so what we can do is see if we jump from a higher position, if we hit the ground, that we kick off dust. So how we're going to do that is checking our flag that we created earlier. So what we do is we say, let me see here, if our object state, object is standing on ground, and let's negate this actually. And let me go back to the regular event editor so you guys can understand it better since we're used to this. So if we're not standing on the ground, then we're going to set our flag to off. Set off on ground. Okay. Then what we want to do is check to see if we are standing on the ground and our flag is off, then we're going to set it to on. So how we do that is we say object state, object is standing on the ground, and then we're going to say if our flag is off for on ground, then we're going to set on ground to on. Flags set on ground. Now let's start some loops. And what we're going to do here is we're going to say fast loop, start loop, and we're going to call this one gen dust left. And the number of times we want to run it is let's do a random value of 5, and we'll say plus 3. Okay. And then we'll do the same thing because now we got to create our write. So we're going to go fast loops, start loop, gen dust write, random 5 plus 3. Okay. So now we just need to create our loops. So what we can do is just basically copy everything that we did in this one. So for this one, I'm going to come over here to our event list editor. and I'm going to copy all of this. Okay, so let me just select it here and Control C, Control V, Control V, and we're going to call this one, let's do this one left, and this one right. Okay, and then for our X positions, we don't want them to be random. So let's just double click to edit it, and we're going to completely replace it with the X position of our mask. But we're going to do position, and what we're going to do is select the X coordinate on the left edge for left. And for the right, we'll edit this one as well, but this time we're going to do position, and we're going to do the X coordinate on the right edge. So let's change a few more values. Let's see, for our X speed, actually not our X speed, for our, let me see here. Well, yeah, for our X speed of our gen dust, what we want to do is change this a little bit. So I'm just going to set it to a random range of 1 to 50. And then for our Y speed, I want to change this to, well, no, we can leave that -50 and -1 because we do want it to go up. And then we'll do the same thing to our dust left. So here we'll do -1 and -50. Okay, so let's try that. Well, that went a little fast. So, all right. Okay, so let's fix, well, that's to our right. So our right one needs to be fixed. So 1 and 50 times 0.01. Huh, that should be working. But let me make sure everything's right here. Okay, so we got it to where we're creating. Okay, so I found out what I did wrong. I just had to change the order of some things. So for the left, just switch the Y bottom on top and the X position to X left on the bottom, and then put Y speed to the top, X speed to the bottom. Make sure all the values are the same as mine, and then do the same thing for gen dust right. Have it to where Y is set to the Y bottom is on top, X position is to the X right of our mask, and then for the Y speed, set that to random range, -50, -1 times 0.01, and make sure it's on top. And for X speed, set that to random range 1 and 50 times 0.01 on the bottom. Now when we run it, it creates our dust particles at the bottom, to the left, and to the right of our player. But this is happening every time. We haven't set it to where it only happens when our character is running or is falling at its maximum speed. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so underneath where we test to see if the object is standing on the ground, we're going to go ahead and insert a new one. And what we're going to say is under our player mask, we're going to do alterable values. We're going to set that new alterable value of Y speed that we created to the Y velocity of our platform movement object, and hit OK. So now to test that, what we're going to say is in here, we're going to say insert a new condition, and we're going to say if our alterable value of Y speed is equal to the maximum Y velocity of our platform movement object, and we'll drag that like that. um, then we'll create the dust. So it shouldn't create it. Well, now it will. But if we just jump normally, it won't create it every time we hit the ground, only if we are at our maximum velocity, just like that. Boom. So now if we fall from a really high distance, then we'll create dust. But if we jump normally, then it's not going to. Yeah, just like that. All right, everybody, that's going to be it for this lesson, and I'll see you guys in the next one.